If I could give my younger self only one message to completely change how he sees dating, it would be this. Your job is to show people who you are, not to convince them to like you. This would have saved him so much pain and so much trouble because he had adopted this belief that seems to be so common amongst men that is perpetuated by the majority of the dating advice industry, that our job when we're going up and we're speaking to a girl is to convince her to be interested through the use of like tricks and cool lines, and everything we're saying has this angle where we're trying to convince her to take an interest in us, which is fundamentally flawed and isn't the right way to go about it, and only really leads people just to misery. And I say that the dating advice community perpetuated this because it works in their favour. Because it's a lot easier to do the approach of saying, oh, well, you just need to say these things in this manner, check out my texting guide of how to text a girl, and then you'll get the girl. But this is just a flawed model. Instead, the approach that should be taken is you work on yourself and then you just present who you are when you're going over. I'm no longer scared when I walk over to a girl in that way about what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do, because to me, the work was already done in the gym, sometimes quite literally the gym, in the sense that I'm taking over everything that I am to go speak to her, of like everything that I've done, everything that I've been, anything that I am is going over there, and I'm just going to show her and be like, hey, this is who I am. Like, are you interested, kind of thing? And if she is, great. And if she isn't, so be it. Her loss, essentially. And this mindset shift would have saved me years and years growing up when I was in this pursuit of thinking that I needed to be more, thinking I needed to be this, or I needed to be able to convince this girl to like me, instead of creating your own life, looking at it, because there'll be things in your own life that you're not happy with. You're not the person that you could be. Then, if you think and decide to fix these, address them, whatever's popping out to you, maybe you hate your job, maybe you're overweight and not in shape, maybe you don't like how you dress, you're not received very well in how you approach the world. Well, if you fix these, then it just makes it so much easier going over when you're happy and comfortable with where you are. To a certain extent, no one's perfectly happy with who they are. I've still got a ton of flaws that I'm working on and trying to get better. But taking that person and going over, this is the closest thing to a magic bullet, magic silver bullet you're going to find in dating and attraction. And the reason it's not spoken about is because it isn't as sexy. It's not as sexy to be like, well, you know, if you spent 2 years getting yourself together, putting your life together, and then you went over and spoke to her, it'd probably go pretty well. Compare that to just being like, oh, well, if you use this line, you'll convince her to be real interested in you. It's like, you can see which one's going to get picked. But that's the issue. That's what it takes. And this is where I fell down. My first ever date, I turned up with like this 1 meter long rose that I gave to her in this desperate attempt that maybe that'd make up for the fact that realistically I was a bit of a loser. And that's what we're doing with all these sort of like fancy tricks. We're just trying to give them the rose to try and convince them to like us, as opposed to just doing the work and just becoming someone who is attractive. And that's the pursuit I would advise to my younger self, and the methodology that I take and what I get my clients to do, of just pursue being attractive as opposed to being perceived as attractive or appearing attractive. Just do the thing. Just be the guy. When you are the guy and you go over there, well, it's easy. All you're trying to do is show them. And this also makes it so much easier in your relationship going forward, because you've likely told the truth. At the point that you're just showing who you are, then you've been expressing the truth of it. So then when fucking 1 year down the line they ask you questions about all these things, It's like, well, you never lied. You weren't trying to manipulate and convince this girl. So you just always know what you said and what you did because it was the truth. So I love this line from Alex Hormozy that you do marketing because you suck at product. And that's the idea that because your product sucks, you have to work way harder to market it because you've got no word of mouth and no one's really interested. Well, that's what the majority of the men's dating advice is. It's marketing rather than actually fixing the product. And this is where self-improvement is actually pretty valuable, and what I did for many years and what really helped me to such a point that you can be a pretty shit marketer. If your product's pretty good, which any guy can change. I have this minorly controversial take that I think the true male privilege is the fact that we have essentially unlimited control over our attractiveness. Like, we can go to the gym, we can get a better job, we can get more bloody status, you can get a more charismatic personality. You can do all of it. I did a bunch of it. I was an absolute loser growing up who got no girls and no dates. And now I do better, let's say. But that's just because I worked on the product long enough that even if my marketing's not that perfect, I could go up to a girl and stumble over my words, but she's gonna give me extra opportunity to get things right because she's going to look at me and think, okay, well, he seems somewhat well put together. He strode over here confidently. For some reason, he's now just stumbled. And they'll allow you to be a bit more sucky in your marketing. So don't focus on just trying to do all these tactics to try and convince someone to be interested, to try and convince them to buy your product. Just be awesome. Oh, is that bad advice? Just be awesome to yourself. Be someone you're proud of. This doesn't mean that you need to follow the path that everyone does. You don't need bloody, to be 6 foot, 6 pack with 6 figures. It's to be someone you're happy with. Maybe you want to collect bloody model trains, whatever it is, but just build the person that you want to be and then show it to people. And I guarantee that this will save you so much more time. If you go down the other path, it's ineffective. It doesn't work. The convince tactic doesn't work. It sucks. It's the longer path. But developing yourself into being someone attractive, which any guy can do, and then just taking that and showing it to people, that's what gets you a relationship. And it doesn't get you just one relationship. It means that you can not feel like you're operating from a position of scarcity where, holy bloody shit, my weird lines and stuff and my convincing worked on this girl. But oh no, what if she goes away? Then suddenly I'm stuck back in this place where I've got to try and convince girls again. You do the hard work and you become someone who is attractive, then you have options. You're no longer stuck in this nonsense position where you're begging for this one girl to give you attention. Loads of people want to give you attention. So that is my silver bullet, and I know it's easier said than done, and it is a journey and it takes a while, but it's bloody worth it, genuinely. And over the course of your life, you'll be so happy that you chose to go down this path. And if you're looking at one of the easiest levers you can pull, genuinely you get such better results if you are able to present yourself and you are in a bit better shape. You don't need to be perfect. It's like, I'm not whammoed. I'm not absolutely Chad with massive muscles. I'm just in an alright shape. And the thing is, I'm actually pretty lazy. Like, I'm not I'm not some guy that's hyper self-motivated to be at the gym all the time. But I wanted to be in shape and I thought it'd be valuable. So I came up with a bunch of strategies around how you can be in pretty good shape whilst also still being lazy. So if you want to adopt that and start to incorporate it into your own life, check out this video here where I show how you can get in pretty physically attractive shape while still being lazy.